Oh, I thought you were doing this for the show.
I'm
Or you're
trying to
just
see if
doing
it fit into the screen, if you could see it all, but do the
You're
Young
too
Bucks
big.
thing.
You're too big, Greg. Your muscles are too big. And I gotta say, I was gonna comment on the shirt because it looked like some silky, long sleeved '70s type shirt, but now it just looks like a normal shirt. So you're not rocking some vintage, like Uncle Rico shirt. That's what I was thinking when I first saw your shirt, Greg. If you kind of remember that bluish white shirt that
Yeah.
he had in his show, so in the movie Napoleon Dynamite, one of the more underrated comedies. But we're not here to talk that. What an intro. Anyways, welcome to Super Kicking It with Stephen and Greg. You know who we are. We're right here. Stephen A. 1181 right there. Oh, I gotta go this way so that Greg. There we go. So now we look like the Young Bucks. We kind of made it work. Greg is over there. We are in a jovial mood because The Rock is back. John Cena's back. It's like 2005 all over again, or 2008 ish. Greg, let's just go back and redo our lives in that era. But anyways, good times. And then we also have big, and I mean big AEW free agency news, which when that dropped, Greg, part of me was like, okay. And then also like, man, it's only been 2 years and she's already like, all right, I'm out. So we will get to that in our AEW talk, but everybody already knows because, we're a couple days behind on our cycle of being live, but we'll get into it and give our own thoughts. So, how in the world are you doing, Greg? Are you over the Chargers loss from last week?
Yeah, yeah. On to the next one. It was a lot of encouraging things. We managed to go blow for blow with Miami, and if it wasn't for our all-star safety, JC Jackson giving up a field goal right at halftime
Mhm.
with a stupid penalty to put Miami in field goal range, we would have beat the Dolphins. So I think he's going to wear it and learn from it and never do that again. But I loved it how we could hang with him and put that many points on a Vic Fangio defense for as widely, heralded as he is for his defense as we rained them up and they could not stop the run. So I haven't seen the Chargers run like that in years since the LT days. So encouraged, and we got Tennessee coming up tomorrow. So I think we're gonna get right
Get
and
back on the train.
off to the races. Yes, sir.
Yeah, my Colts are my Colts. Had a lead, um, and then it get outscored 14 points in the fourth quarter. So
Oh, I think you lead most of the game, right? So,
they were. I think it was kind of they were down a little bit, and then they got up in the third. But then, like I said, couldn't put the. There's just not enough firepower. I mean, and then you have Jonathan Taylor come out on Instagram and like show he's making cuts, and I'm like, well, dude, you still got 3 weeks left. Like, you're on the pup list. We can't. So, but you know what, Greg? We are not the New York football team, and that is
either one
all.
of them.
And you know what? I don't care if Aaron Rodgers. Um, I don't care for him at all. Like honestly, I don't think I've ever cared for him. He's always seemed like a smug,
Yeah.
dirty, not dirty, just I don't know, son of a gun, just always full of himself. Almost like a CM Punk, isn't he? Like where, I think he thinks he's got that chip on his shoulder, and he probably doesn't need it because we know how damn talented he is. He's won a Super Bowl. I mean, he's going to break all kinds of. Well, he might not break passing records now, and to go down what 4 plays, I think it was,
Yeah.
like on an ACL or what was it, an ACL tear or whatever it was, uh,
Yeah. Tear.
tear. So it's like, well, you know what? Sorry, karma's a little bit of a, as they say, woman, a female dog, Greg. So, I'm just like, whatever, dude. Now, I also see, though, there's no way he wants that to be the final play of his NFL career. Like, I mean, he's already, like we brought up in our map, brought up the scores. I guess he was already on McAfee's show, which whatever. Saying I'll be back, before the playoffs start. All right, whatever.
Yeah, sure you will.
So, and the Jets are like, no, you're not. So, yeah, but it just, and then, he calls out, people. And I guess the real fun thing is, he's an anti-vaxxer, an anti-whatever, Greg. And then what does he have on in the operating room with the little shower cap on? Yes, in fact, it is a mask. So there you go. Whatever. So let's get to the real stuff, though. I want to know, Greg, are we going to get back on the Rock and Roman Reigns train? Because, as you can see, the Rock, we talked about the Salt Fair. The Rock was everywhere this weekend. Well, everywhere in Denver, sorry, or Boulder, Colorado. He was part of Pat McAfee's show yesterday, that's probably a huge get for McAfee's show. I know he's had every other person under the sun, but this is The Rock. the Rock's
Right.
The Rock's probably right under Vince, under levels of greatness and wrestling. But he was pretty candid that we were probably going to get him and Roman in LA, which would have made so much sense with the Hollywood aspect. And then things happened. But now he's also stating, hey, we got Philadelphia coming up. And you know what, Greg? If that's the case, I think I am on board with you that this doesn't need the title. So then give me Cody Rhodes getting that damn title tomorrow, next week, wherever. Give it out a house show, like wherever we can do it. But do we want to see The Rock and Roman finally just do it? Get the match, let that be Rock's final match. Roman can retire him, have that as his big moment, and then The Rock can go in the Hall of Fame the next year. Or do we still want to, now I think also on the other end, Greg, I think Triple H is the big long-term guy. It doesn't matter if The Rock might be available. If we're doing Cody and Roman, that's the trade. But it is The Rock. So, which thought process are you kind of feeling for this, Greg?
I'm still standing on what I said before. Rock and Roman does not need a title. It's going to be better if there's not a title, because we all know Rock's not coming back for one more run.
Yeah.
A one-off match. Oh no, we're over it. So, he had his moment, let it go, and now it's about helping the young kids get over. But to close out the bloodline story, Roman's been declaring himself the tribal chief for 3+ years, and this could be the real tribal combat.
Yeah.
Where you want to know who the real tribal chief is, and Rock comes out, and this is the one guy who dwarfs Roman in stature, and he goes, "I'm the tribal chief," and Roman's like, "I'm the tribal chief." So this is one, tribal combat, and you do it all the way, not like the last one with Jey Uso.
A lot of shenanigans.
Right. And you have the ancestors there, and you make the rules. You explicitly explain the rules.
Yeah.
Nobody outside of the bloodline is allowed to interfere in this match. And just to be sure, all the Rikishi, all the living bloodline members are going to be there, sitting around ringside or whatever.
Rikishi's going to be busy that day too.
Hey, may as well. Have everybody there, make it off the wall ceremonial, and this is the official. Rock and Roman. We'd all buy into it, and this could be like the end of it once.
Yeah.
And this is one time where it's better if the legend goes over, and
The Rock goes over.
Yeah, I want the Rock to go over, and he's like, "I'm the true tribal chief." but you're here to carry on the legacy. He could cut that promo after the match.
Yeah.
Um, but remember, I'm the tribal chief, Wink, and out he goes. But you're next in line, and when you're ready, come see me, or I'll come see you, or something like that. But you could lay it out any number of ways. But I think Rock should go over, and we remove the whole tribal chief business out of the whole story, close it up, seal it. Roman is left to go and reinvent himself as something else. The bloodline story is gone. Book is closed, and now we move forward in a different iteration with Roman, Solo, and the Usos. So we can finally wrap it up, put a bow on it, and it was a great story we put on the shelf.
Well, especially if you do Jimmy and Jay. I mean, that would really. Um, Now, what's funny, I guess a thought that came to my head. Two thoughts. I'll do the first one. Philadelphia, Greg, if our memory serves us right, that was the booing of The Rock presenting Roman as the next one. So it'd be very interesting. I have a feeling Philadelphia fans have some great memories, Greg. So I would be very curious to see what would the reaction be if there was a passing of the torch moment. With Roman being what he is, and with The Rock, maybe they do forget it. But and then the other thought. So if you do, let's say we don't do Roman and Rock, but let's say a certain Second City Saint came back, Greg. Him and The Rock have some history that could happen at WrestleMania, and that would be something I'd be for. CM Punk and The Rock could do some business at WrestleMania. And honestly, I think that might be more intriguing than Stone Cold and CM Punk. Because, I think CM Punk has some real, not vitriol per se for The Rock, but I think, obviously there's a little bit of jealousy there. I think he does respect Stone Cold on a certain level. And maybe I'm sure there is, well, who knows? We don't know what CM Punk's thinking, Greg, but, because we got to think back, once again, my memory, Raw 1000, that led to The Rock, taking out CM Punk. And you have that story. You could play out that storyline. He took everything from CM Punk to title, WrestleMania main event. So, for my money, if you want to stick to Cody Rhodes and Roman, maybe you can back up the truck to The Rock and CM Punk and let them close out night one. And boom, you gave CM Punk a main event and give him somebody that he probably has some legit beef with.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Hey, I'm down. I would love to see that. And Punk is best when he has that real life heat
Yes.
to dial into.
TheOne, yep.
And those promos get a lot more sensitive and a lot more you can feel it. You can feel the realness because once he starts digging in and exposing those wounds, if whether it's consciously or subconsciously, it gets the other guy to go down to the depths with him, and he starts pulling out all the dirt, and they start spilling the tea on each other, and we as fans get to sit back and listen to it like, oh, okay, yeah, and it just makes it so much better. So you can tell when it's scripted heat versus real heat.
Oh yeah.
That the two guys have with each other, and that real beef makes it so much better. You can imagine, Rock's probably, seen as, can't do wrong, kind of personality now, and he probably doesn't have any real life beef with anybody, but, somebody, like Punk gets in and starts digging.
He could have some. I mean, Cena got to him. We still remember Cena calling him out for, having the handwritten notes on his wrist. So, and I can only imagine what Punk could come up with. I mean,
right.
because like I said, you have that built-in storyline, you
Yeah.
know, of Raw 1000 and the Royal Rumble, whatever year that. I mean, it's been some time, but you know, we got the Peacock, we got the network that we can go back and bring some of those out. So I don't know, man. That's obviously the fantasy, Lord of the Rings, Marvel, all that
Yeah.
comic book coming out of me, Greg, because that is probably a far fetched dream, but uh, I don't know. Like I said, if the plan, because like I said, part of me thinks Triple H might be like, yeah, we stumbled into having The Rock available, but this is my plan. It's we because Cody's got to finish some story, right?
Right. You got to finish something. Yeah.
I mean,
Um,
and I don't know what else he could do at WrestleMania. If you're not, I mean, I'm sure there'll be something that he could do, but that's if you're not going to do the title for him at Mania, then let's do it at Royal Rumble. I guess that's the best, next best thing. 'Cause I don't want it at Elimination Chamber before WrestleMania. And you got Survivor Series, but also that could be, CM Punk. Once again, I know, Greg, we probably shouldn't talk about it, but he came on last time, was on some announcer's booth, is like, well, I got some free time coming up in 2 months. And if our timelines match up right, that's pretty much right as Survivor Series is the 25th of November. So that's that's a pretty close deadline right there. So, and I think that would dwarf anything that's going to happen at Survivor Series. Is CM Punk back in the ring, no matter whatever he does.
right.
So even just showing up, like the Rampage, first dance, like all he had to do is do a promo and just cut a
Exactly.
promo. I mean, so yeah. The other bit I didn't get a chance. I kind of just saw this come up recently. Greg, was Solo Sikoa and John Cena possibly being rumored to be dance partners for Royal Rumble, and that gives me horrible flashbacks to Umaga never getting over on John Cena, Greg. So that would be very interesting to see, if Solo could lift the curse of the Anoa'i family and maybe get some retribution for Uncle Umaga, Uncle whatever Fatu or whatever, whichever real name he has. But any interest in Cena and Solo going at it at
Uh,
Royal Rumble or?
mm, yes and no. I mean, Cena is not as huge a special attraction as, say, Brock is.
Yeah.
So how great is the John Cena rub to steal what the kids are saying these days?
Mm-hmm.
Given Solo that rub, it could still serve its purpose. I don't think Solo is really going to get in the ring and brag about beating John Cena.
Yeah. Well, that's the
Like
thing. But if you have
Austin
Heyman,
Theory would. But we see it, we'll recognize it, and you know, pay respect for he did it.
yeah,
But
I can also
gonna
see I can see Cena, like you said. I think somebody else getting that rub and really using it. Because
yeah.
I feel like it'd be more Heyman trying to build it up, and and then I mean they are touting the whole line of the greatest of all time now, so that'd be a pretty
Mm-hmm.
good feather in the cap for Solo.
True.
Maybe because I don't see him
Um,
win the Rumble, so I guess I kind of want him to do something big heading into WrestleMania season, if that makes sense.
yeah, I mean, I think if we had some build to it,
Yeah,
like Cena's bat for a little bit, and they're building up to it, as opposed to him just showing up one week and them having a match,
yeah,
or
oh yeah,
cutting a couple promos before the pay-per-view and then having a match. It's kind of pointless. But if they really give it some build, give it some time, and you know let them two face off in the ring, or have a couple altercations backstage, and let it breathe for about a month, 5 6 weeks, and really do it up, so that it doesn't seem like John's just there to lay down, and
yeah.
he's really
Oh
come
yeah,
back to
that makes sense.
fight. because his last couple appearances have been,
Show up.
less than special.
Yeah.
So if it's something like that, yeah, sign me up because when he's fired up and in fighting mode, then he's still got it. But um, his last couple runs, with Theory and with I forgot who became before him, but it was just a quick in and out, or the match with Roman,
Yeah.
where just showed up as the next contender and got beat pretty quick. Um, but give it some build and I'm in. But if it's just a quick one off, then no.
I mean, I guess it's probably you. If we're looking at it, it's probably more towards for Jimmy Uso, because Jimmy's the one who's had the interactions with him lately. So maybe that might be more the way to go, and that gives Jimmy a huge win that could lead into Jimmy versus Jay, because you can have Jimmy bragging like, "Hey, I've already beaten John Cena, and I can beat my own brother," stuff like that. So I'll be very interested to see. Like I said, that's rumored, but it came across my Twitter feed, my X feed, Greg. So I thought I'd throw it out there. Was there any other news notes that maybe caught your eye? We'll leave the other free agency news, obviously, for AEW, even though it does connect to WWE, which
Sure.
we've made it very known.
When we saw the news about the TKO brand finally hitting the New York Stock Exchange, and now WWE and the UFC are officially under the same umbrella and being put on the stock market. Depending on what the price is, somebody tried to get me a couple shares of that while it's on the ground level. This could be like buying Apple, when it first started or something. So, I may try to invest in a few shares, just say I did, because Dana White is a marketing genius. And, of course, we know Vince McMahon is a marketing genius. We put those heads together and the people who were overseeing the whole company, they make the right moves and they could blow up to be 3-4 times more than it's worth right now, minimum. So there's so much room to grow.
Can you imagine a dinner with Vince and Dana White like that?
Oh,
who's paying the bill?
Right?
It's probably split. One is not paying for the other.
No, I think they're going to try to show off and see, who can spend more.
Or there's a head over both of them, right? For the TKO and the Endeavor, I think there's somebody over them.
Right, Endeavor has their own board that's governing everything.
They would just charge it to the company card.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
But yeah, I'm curious to see what's going to happen with that. And of course, we've heard now that it's an official company that there's going to be a huge roster shakeup and people are going to get cut from WWE. And I'm curious to see what's going to happen with that. There's been nothing released, but that's what's on the rumor mill right now.
The big name I saw for company, like employees, was Dana Warrior, which is not that's the only name you recognize. Ultimate Warrior's wife, which also makes but if they keep the Warrior Award around, I guess you could just tout her out there that weekend of WrestleMania. Because I was taking it as more company employees than not wrestlers. I don't know how you do UFC. I guess guys just don't fight, right? Like UFC, do they lay off fighters, or how does that work?
Dana White just fires you if you're not cutting the mustard. You're out of there. So. And he is no timeline on the hook. You can get it at any time. So
you're signing, you're essentially on a contract for a fight, right?
Yeah, you're on pretty much a fight by fight basis. Even if you have like a 5-fight deal signed, if you go out and you stink it up, he could cut you right there. And I'm sure there's some clause in the contract for a buyout or whatever, but he can cut you like that. So
Probably the bigger guys, but if like for a a Joe Schmo for me, like if I had one fight, like that'd probably be it. What did you think? There was also the comments that the president of TKO, whatever he is, he wants to try to cross over the fans. Obviously, you're a crossover fan, Greg. I am not. I just don't know if I see it crossing over like he envisions. Even if you do a weekend, let's say you do SmackDown on a Friday, you do a UFC fight on a Saturday, you do a WWE pay per view on Sunday. I don't know. I think the diehard UFC fans, the diehard WWE fans, they're not going to walk. I'm not tuning into UFC fight. Now you will because, like I said, you're kind of down the middle. You know, you might like one or the over the other, Greg. From what I've gathered, but you're pretty much down the middle. Um, I just it was an interesting comment, and even Dana White's like, well, that's kind of a stupid comment because we each have our own brand. So I
right.
just don't see any. Now if you have a legit crossover, maybe some of these UFC guys show up on a WWE Raw just to promote it. That might help. But or if we've seen plenty of wrestlers showing up UFC fights. We've seen Taker, but
Yeah.
he came out with Brock, didn't he? One time, I think, or he got in the ring with, or he had some engagement with Brock that led to their match or something like that. But
Yeah, I
obviously,
think
Triple
Taker
H,
was at ringside for
yes,
one of
sorry,
Brock's
ringside,
fights.
and then he
Yeah.
just kind of climbed the cage and yelled at him or something. But any thoughts on that? What do you think would how could they get that crossover? I guess is my question because I don't know if you can.
No, I don't think there's really going to be much crossover just because UFC is so global
Yeah,
and there's fighters from every corner of the globe.
yeah.
And most of them don't speak English very well.
Oh, okay.
The Brazilian guys, usually have to have the Portuguese translator to translate what they're trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing for, the Asian guys and things like that. So there's a language barrier to cross that they still are working on. They're doing like Triple H has been doing with the Nakamura vignettes and just captioning what they're saying. So um, you have that barrier first,
Mm-hmm.
and like I said, that's probably maybe not half, but a large percentage of their fighters
Yeah,
from different countries barely speak English if they speak in English.
yeah,
And so, only until you get to the top guys, or you got guys who are worthy of being on it in a WWE ring and able to hold their own, on the microphone, and grasp what they're supposed to do.
yeah,
Um, I give you some, names, but even among some of the champions, they wouldn't be able to, get over in
mm-hmm.
a WWE ring. We just all look at him like, who is this guy?
Yeah,
So I don't think there's gonna be much cross promotion at all. Maybe if there's a huge event coming up next January, February, we'll be up to UFC 300.
okay,
Um, we're about to have UFC 294 in
okay,
another month or so. So we're this close to another centennial
yeah,
uh, UFC event in January, February. So I could see something big happening with maybe the guys who are on the top of the card,
yeah,
the main event, co-main event, um, having a segment on Raw or SmackDown or something like that, because you're most likely going to have your most bankable stars, and those are going to be guys that speak fluent English, girls speak fluent English, and help promote it.
yeah,
So we're only talking about a segment or two.
yeah. Or just
Um,
the whole like now, probably even just announcing it, like just having
yeah,
Michael Cole say, "Hey, tune in to UFC 300 this weekend on pay per view."
right.
But I just don't know. I just don't think I see a lot of crossover potential right now. So. even
Yeah,
though we
my only
know.
worry is the pay per view issue because all of
But
the UFC events are like $70,
yeah,
and
you
we
wonder
don't
if
want that
WWE
filtering
could.
into.
Yeah,
No, we
yeah,
I don't think WWE can handle that because there's not enough a giant enough cross section of WWE and UFC fans that
yeah.
would
Get
go
back to
for
buying.
buy-in.
Mhm.
Right, and you have a week where there's a UFC pay-per-view and a WWE pay-per-view, and who's going to want to pay twice, that much money to watch both of those events? So even as hardcore a fan as I am, I don't want to.
Yeah,
Keep the network the way it is, keep the pay-per-views on Peacock, but I don't want them that pay-per-view model is what I'm worried about the most with both of these brands being under the same umbrella.
yeah. And that's what, and then that gets into the TV deals. Is Fox going to keep it around? Does NBC still want the network on Peacock? Like, there's going to be some real big, and I know you shared it with me, and that's a whole nother conversation I think we could have down the road as TV deals get up. Because like you said, I don't think you can convert fans to get back to buying pay-per-views if
No,
this is like the fourth or fifth year now. I think it's 2018 that the network first came on, Greg. So it's like if you can get Peacock for $5 a month, and you're essentially getting those pay-per-views $5. I mean, yeah. So or 50, I think it's $12 for premium Peacock. Because sometimes they have extras that happen during the big premium live events. But yeah, it is interesting too that the sale goes through, they go public, Greg, and boom, they had the money for The Rock to show up. So it was
true.
quite that some of that money I'm guessing went to him, but or else the timing was just right. I mean, it just just worked out. That McAfee was having him on, and McAfee was back on TV last night too. So speaking of TV, I guess let's get into Raw because Raw happened and we had a return, Greg. I think we should just start there because there had been rumblings that Nia Jax would be back, and boom, she is back with a vengeance. And I guess you knew something had to happen, Greg, because they were main eventing with Rhea, with Raquel. And we talked about their last match that just something wasn't clicking. This one I think was a little bit better. But you kind of was wondering, I did not foresee Nia Jax coming back. I'll say that right now. I figured she'd be back at some point. I mean, it just seemed like there was too much there. She's really good friends with Charlotte. She's really good friends with Alexa, Greg. So it's like, and and I think she looked a little bit, thinner, if you want, for what she is. I thought she looked a little bit more in shape than what she normally is. So, and it looks like now we'll probably be off and running for Nia and Rhea. Which if Rhea could go over Nia, then Rhea really has a feather in her cap for this. So, what do you think about Nia Jax getting back and just kind of where the women's division is at now?
Yeah, it was totally unexpected. I said you figured something was going to happen at the end with Raquel and Rhea running it back, um, and under no circumstance did I think that Raquel was going to win.
Yeah,
So it's like, okay, what's the rub here? And boom, we get Nia coming back. So
yeah,
that was probably the last woman I expected to see because I know she'd been cut last year,
yeah.
and she came back and she, I thought she looks maybe a shade smaller than she was.
Okay. I
Um,
mean, I really did think she actually looked a little bit more in shape than when she last was there.
yeah, I hope she's gone and worked on her craft and comes back better because
Safer.
she wasn't. Yeah, definitely safe because she was hurting people and getting hurt and hope she's learned some tricks and um,
Maybe slow
I'm
down. A lot of times I think the processing time. You think you got to make everything look so impactful,
mhm.
but you also don't want to be unsafe in the ring. And that's the
Right.
last thing you want as a wrestler is to have that moniker because it doesn't go. It takes a lot to go away.
Yeah.
So,
So now you got my interest. What's going to happen here? Because she's obviously a heel, and now she's coming to face Rhea, who's
a heel.
right now still a
Top
heel, but
heel.
everybody loves her.
Yeah.
So how's this going to work? Is Rhea going to end up going face, and which would ruin the dynamic of the Judgment Day because
Yeah.
we're
Oh
talking
no.
about the
Yeah.
top heel faction.
Yeah. She can't.
Yeah, so I'm curious to see how this is going to work out. What's going to happen?
I mean,
So
she's going to get cheered in a way if they do a one-on-one match, just because fans have tend to go one way or the other. And
right,
like you said, it's that respect factor. Like we've seen what Rhea's gone, where she's come from,
yeah,
and now where she is, and it's a pretty big change. Raquel's still the same. Like Raquel's character from NXT to now, Greg, I feel like hasn't changed a lot. I think that's
no,
why
not
people
at
are
all.
kind of down on her, and not really buying into her because there's not much difference. And she really hasn't shown anything that makes her stand out yet. She's got the tools. I mean, she's got the look, the back thing. That could be, it could be like the Bobby Lashley bending over thing, but
Right.
I mean, she's got, and obviously she could work on the mic, but they're just, I don't know, there's still that little bit of it factor, I think, missing. And I don't know what that will take. I mean, I've kind of penciled her as a Royal Rumble favorite just because I feel like that could be a next step for her. Because what else is there to kind of get her over that hump? But um, Nia Jax is there, and I don't think Nia's ever won the women's title, so it'll be interesting to see. Do you finally give her women's title uh, for coming back? And and like I said, maybe make herself a little bit better body wise for it. So, because Vince does love when you come. I mean, look at Ginger. Vince loves when you make your body better, and so that could always be something. But then kind of circling back, the beginning. We saw Jey Uso. I think this is the Jey Uso redemption tour. Greg, he's just trying to make amends with everybody because he wanted to be KO's partner, but he ends up super kicking him accidentally in the match with Finn and Damien. So then we're going to get Jay and Drew next week. So are we going to get Jey Uso and Kevin Owens for Fastlane, Greg?
Well, I wouldn't be mad about it. What's Vaseline? A couple weeks. A couple
2
weeks from
weeks
now.
away from tonight. Yep.
So
3 weeks. Sorry.
yeah, I mean you could planted the seed for it already. So
Unless we get a 3-person like Jay, Kevin, Sammy versus Finn, Damien, and Dominic, which I think that almost feels like the way it's going to go. Like Sammy's going to vouch for Jay, and Kevin Owens is just going to have to try to get on board. But
yeah, no, it kind of seems like a waste. There's more to do with the whole Jay, winning the trust
yeah, oh yeah,
storyline than
maybe you could do like
a
the
6-man.
BCC where Kevin and Jay having a match and that before Fastlane. Maybe that's a way to make it happen. So
Right.
the Miz picked up a win. Nothing to say there. He did lose to LA Knight, Greg. So that happened on SmackDown. Is that feud over?
It should be, except that LA Knight still doesn't have the talk show yet. So
Okay.
I'm putting that in the universe.
You need that on a microphone on a pole match.
I need that to happen.
A contract.
I need it to happen. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
We need the talk show. We need to bring it back. And, people have been, calling into the wrestling talk shows and talking about, the Eli Drake, Moment of Truth talk show he used to have. Yeah. And, man, we need it. We need it.
Tell
and
me
just
about
having them take over Miz TV and going, I'm taking this now.
Yeah.
But, if they decide to forego the talk show, then this rivalry should be over and he should pivot into something bigger because,
Yeah.
it's a good opening, um, serious rivalry to start with. Now it's on to the next thing.
Yep. Champa even the odds for Alpha Academy. We had Gunther's celebration. Obviously, you knew Chad Gable was going to come out there and interrupt it. Hashtag Where's Gargano? Is he on dad duty or something, Greg? I don't know where he's at, but just put him and Champa together. They both want to do it. Obviously, you have Champa doing all the social media stuff about it, Greg. I say, give DIY a run. I mean, we need the tag teams. They can work. They're a legit team. That they could challenge Finn and Damian Priest at any point, and it feel like they could beat them. So,
Mhm.
and then it almost you don't want to take away from Chad Gable trying to overcome Gunther if you have Champa looking like the it guy to do it. So it's a weird dynamic that they brought Champa in this. I think Gable did get the pin in the actual match, but I don't want Champa to overshadow Gable because Gable needs to beat Gunther. Like that's you don't want to ruin that. So, what do you think about Champa kind of being inserted into this, Greg? Does that hurt Chad Gable's chances against Gunther?
Um, I think it's too early to tell.
Yeah,
It was odd seeing him come out to save the day for sure. Um, I think that DIY is definitely going to happen,
yeah,
and they're just kind of letting it hang for a minute so we can all start thinking about it and wondering, okay, why isn't Gargano involved?
yeah.
And it's coming. It's probably another couple, three,
Maybe
4 weeks away,
maybe
but
after
I think
Fastlane.
it is right on the horizon, and I like what they're doing as far as getting tag teams ready.
Mm-hmm.
You got Alpha Academy, you got a reimagined Street Profits happening, you got Viking Raiders happening, you got New Day reformed,
Mm-hmm.
uh, we got Riddle and McIntyre doing whatever they're doing.
Oh my
So
gosh, I
you're
forgot about the Riddle news. I didn't even get to that, Greg.
Riddle news.
Oh, that was
So maybe I
yeah.
missed something on that.
He um he said he was sexually assaulted at an airport by TSA or somehow assaulted, and then it just then it's like he wasn't there on Monday night. There was I guess they were investigating. They didn't found any wrongdoing. So I don't know, Greg. It seems like he's going through something like
Okay then.
mentally. I don't know if you're making allegations of sexual assault and I don't know. There's something there, right? I mean, this obviously his love life is um, okay, I guess, because him and his wife or him and his girlfriend now they're having a baby, so that should be okay. But I don't know. There's just weird, just little things that don't click, and yeah, so that's I think why he wasn't there on Monday night. They were still investigating it and trying to figure out why in the hell are you if nothing happened, why were you trying to say something happened? Like that's just I don't know. It happened. I guess it happened over the weekend at the airport, and I forget which one it was. I think it was either Boston or New York, but because obviously Drew McIntyre wrestled Xavier Woods. Um,
Yeah.
Good on Xavier, Greg, to get these. Like we talked about a couple years ago, the Lashley stuff. Every once in a while, Xavier gets some really good person to match up with. It just shows out.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
uh, any thoughts on Drew and Xavier? I guess, and like I said, we'll get Drew and Jay Uso next week.
Yeah, it was a good match. I mean, I wasn't expecting much out of it, but you got two, babyface characters with some beef going with each other.
Mm-hmm.
It was good. I was impressed with it, better than I
Yeah,
thought it was going to be. And, you know, I think it's just going to be a one-off because, you know, Drew doesn't really have a tag team um, angle happening. but and I don't see much this going with the New Day very much farther.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a blow off match with Kofi too,
Mm-hmm.
but aside from that, I don't see it going very far. But I like what I saw there. But
Mm-hmm. And then what about Cody Rhodes mixing up with Dirty Dom and JD? Who's going to even the odds for Cody? There's nobody.
another good questions.
I feel like there's really nobody out there that we can think of, but I think him and Dom are going to go at it next week on Monday Night Raw, and you got to believe JD will interfere in that. So I'm guessing Cody and JD at Fastlane. Maybe that's how we'll play it off, because right now I don't know. Cody Rhodes is in limbo, right?
Right. Maybe this is a good spot for Carmelo to make a cameo.
Hmm.
Carmelo Hayes.
Yeah.
They've already had a moment together a couple months ago.
I
So,
think we're getting Carmelo versus Dominic, right, for not title versus title, but just champion versus champion. I think that's happening in NXT next week. So maybe there's a little payoff there. Can you imagine Cody Rhodes' entrance at on an NXT show? I don't know if they got the budget for the pyro down there, Greg, but or the room. So, but yeah, Shayna Baszler defeated Chelsea Green, but we did see Piper back, which is good.
Yep.
I'm still gonna say, Greg, I say you play up this cursed titles thing, and I feel like Chelsea and Piper really played up somehow, but yeah. And then Nakamura did take out Ricochet to kind of get a match with Seth Rollins. We still need a stipulation. I'm thinking we need a stipulation of that match, don't we? If we get a rematch between the two.
Yeah. It can't be a carbon copy of the first match, so it's got to be just a little something extra put on it. Maybe a submission match so he could work that back more and.
Yeah. Since he has, and we don't know if Seth. I don't know if Seth has a submission, does he?
No, right now he doesn't.
Yeah.
And they've done a good job of showing Nakamura has a martial arts background, so you got that working for you. It could work out using those angles, but I think Seth does some martial arts based training too, but they haven't really gave it much attention, but they've been showing that in the vignettes for Nakamura, so I think they could use that to their advantage and upsell the fact that he is a martial artist, and whether he's a black belt or not, they could say he is and make him seem even more dangerous.
Oh yeah. Other than that, I think we got everything else on that end. NXT, Dragunov picks up a win. He's going to get Carmelo. Does he finally, Greg, overcome Carmelo Hayes at No Mercy for the title?
Well, I said it the first time. I'm going to say it again. Yes, he is. That's my guy. I love me some Dragunov.
I mean, if he doesn't, what else is there for him to do down there?
Right. So this is the loser leaves.
Is this our Braun versus Carmelo argument or not argument? The idea we had before.
Yeah, it's like whoever loses is moving.
Has to move up. Yeah,
has to move up.
I just don't see any. Yeah, if he's gonna lose, I don't know what. I mean, he's already kind of done the Trick Williams stuff. He showed him respect in that aspect. He's already beat Braun. Or will he, face off against Braun? He's above the North American title. He's obviously above the Heritage Cup. So I don't know what else there'd be to, you got to make him get a tag team partner and try to go that route. I mean, I know him and Tyler Bate would probably be a fun tag team, Greg, just because of the, the intensity they have. But yeah, I just think, like you said, one of them has to move up. After if Carmelo loses, I could see him waiting probably to Rumble. But if Dragunov loses, I'm calling him up, the next week, aren't I? Like maybe give him a couple weeks at least, and then I'd say heading into Survivor Series, give him some kind of footing into there. But
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. Is that Carmelo has beaten everybody,
yeah,
and we've seen his reigns, and everything looks amazing. And when he comes up and brings that same presentation, and his everything has worked out perfectly as far as how you present him, how he looks, how everything is just picture perfect. And this now he's polished, he's ready to go. And now's the time to bring him up, drag it off now with as champion. He can go back through everybody, and we
yeah,
get fresh matches.
yeah, oh yeah,
We've seen Carmelo beat everybody, but we haven't seen Dragunov beat everybody. So, he can get another 6-8 months to a year going back through the roster of everybody
oh
that
yeah.
Carmelo's beat, plus whoever comes in new, and everything is new and fresh again. So I'm more towards Dragunov winning, Carmelo coming up, because Carmelo's done and ready.
Put him
You
with
know,
Lashley and the Profits, and I'm off and running.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And then you let Trick Williams, see what he can do on his own.
Yeah.
And because I don't think you call up Trick yet. I think we want to let him build his own brand, so to speak, down there. So,
Right.
some other things we had: Drew Gulak, Charlie Dempsey, Damon Kemp pick up a win. I'm still waiting on the day that we get to see William Regal show up in NXT, Greg, because that's where we're waiting for. So, Lyra picked up a win, and she got backstage segment with Becky Lynch. Greg, they're really high on Lyra, aren't they? I mean, with
They
where
are.
she's been positioned and just the faces she's interacted with.
True, true. I don't get it yet. Her matches are okay. I don't think they're that amazing, but um, they see something that we don't, and I trust the process, and there's nothing to say that when she comes up that she's going to be the same character. She can be
Yeah,
a
that's true.
variation of the same
Yeah,
character. So,
because like I said, I mean, I think for Judgment Day, I think she'd fit in somehow. Just that dark look, she can show some aggressive side. Rhea's already kind of played it up like, she respects her. So calling her up and letting her be the almost like a Zoe Trish Stratus type thing. Even though Rhea's
uh,
Rhea's probably younger than her, probably I don't know, but I guess Rhea's probably a couple years older. So yeah, I'm gonna be curious to see because it like I said, I don't think they present her with the people she has if they weren't envisioning something bigger for
yeah,
her. Like we
right.
haven't seen Roxanne interact with any of those people, even though I'm surprised because I would have thought Roxanne would have been there putting the rocket behind her, Greg, and shooting her to the moon, which they
Yeah.
kind of did. But now that now they've reeled her back, so it's kind of interesting there with Roxanne and Cora, Cora Jade, who we have not seen, Greg, but I've heard reasons why. It's two reasons. Two assets why she's not been on TV, but should be back soon, is what the Instagram stories are saying, Greg. So
Uh-huh.
we shall see if, in fact, she looks more enhanced on HGTV when
Uh-huh.
she comes back on TV, because that tends to be the case of why women disappear for a living, especially in wrestling lore, Greg. So. Tyler Bate, Nathan Frazier picked up wins. Frazier slowly sneaking in back up into the win column, Greg. Oh, oh. Jeez. The dog
Nope,
does he not like Nathan Frazier? Your dog doesn't care for him?
he's like,
That
who?
scared the hell out of me too, Greg. I'm sorry I jumped. I'm usually not that jumpy. I look like an idiot on camera. Thanks, dog. So, anyways, I still want somebody different to go against Noam Dar though. I don't want Nathan Frazier and Noam Dar to go at it for the third or fourth time again, right?
Right, right. It is getting old, and doing the thing with the cups was cute at first, and now they're just playing volleyball with it. Um, yeah, we need some fresh blood in there. We tried Dragon Lee, and don't know if he's really had a.
I don't.
Did he get a full run with it, or
Well, no, he's not won anything.
no? He didn't get a match for the cup.
Yeah, he
Yet.
just got a match. He's had a match
So-
for like the North American title. He's had a match for the Heritage Cup. Did he get a match against the NXT title yet?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Um,
And I still think they want to give him the North American title. It just makes too much sense to beat Dominic with the Rey Mysterio factor, even though they, didn't pull the trigger when Rey was there. But yeah, so and they touted Dragon Lee so high. That's why I'm surprised. Would a Heritage Cup win really do much more for him though? I don't know if his stock would go up anymore.
yeah, I don't think it really has much. It's not seen as special. I think
It's into
by
the
us.
24/7 territory, isn't it? Or
Yeah,
maybe
I
a
mean,
step above.
maybe in Europe the cup means more because of everything is a cup in.
And they built it up so much on NXT UK. Like I don't think it's translated over here. So
I agree. Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see if they just maybe after Noam Dar's done, Greg, it just goes away. It slowly makes its way. Noam Dar could keep it at home. So Creed Brothers picked up a win. Oh yeah, and Becky Lynch won the NXT Women's title. Oh wait. That happened. So what's that mean for Tiffany, Greg? Is she going to call up? It's way too soon for her.
What's that?
I think it's too soon.
I don't know. She really didn't have much competition down there when you consider.
That's true.
The field down in NXT, there wasn't much to get excited about.
Yeah.
There still isn't much to get excited about. Becky's going to have the championship, and she's going to have to have the same problem. So, just the women in NXT right now is not. It doesn't get you going.
Does Becky just drop it right back to her at No Mercy?
I don't see why not. Actually, this was about. This is the one title you haven't had, and now she has it.
Now she has it, and you could
Tiffany
see it was nice. It was a nice moment for her. I mean, you could tell it was emotional because you think of where Becky started. An Irish dancer character, and and not really having that presence that they thought she would. Then main eventing WrestleMania with Ronda and Charlotte. So, nice little pat on the back in NXT, Greg. But I kind of feel like Tiffany's going to get it right back in some nefarious way to play that up.
Yeah, Tiffany's. I kind of agree with you. She's not ready yet. I think the character still needs some work, some more time on the mic, some more time raising their game in the ring. Even though I'm impressed with, I've been more impressed now compared to when she debuted.
She held her own with Becky though.
True facts.
Yeah,
so, she's on the way for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. But she needs
I would just
more.
be worried they would just kind of not know what to do with her right away on the main roster. And and that's never good because I think she is a little bit above that with the way she's been positioned down in NXT. So,
right, and there's girls on the main roster who resemble her character already. Think Chelsea Green.
Yeah.
Somebody like that.
That could be
a little some character tweaking and some things like that could be in order before she comes up.
Yeah. Now if they want to play it big, maybe they got some Barbie tie-in, Greg. Get some of that Barbie money. That could be, that could really jettison her up. But because even the way her name is presented, it looks like the Barbie logo when you see it. So there's definitely possibilities there to play that up. So
yeah.
And SmackDown, the Rock and Cena show. We had, and we can't forget Pat McAfee back on. Nothing beats when Pat McAfee's back on, Greg, because you don't know what the heck he's going to say. So, especially on commentary, I miss him and Michael Cole. Like I didn't think I'd like them together, Greg, but man, they really grew. They really grew on me together because
Yeah,
you have McAfee playing like a fan, like he is a fan. Sorry, but I felt like he wasn't fed anything. Like some like Mick Foley back on a commentary back in the day, Greg. You could just tell Foley's like just reading lines in a play. So McAfee just would say whatever. So and then like we said, to get the Rock to show up on a random Friday night SmackDown. I mean, thank God for the workers or for the writer's strike and the actors strike, because I don't think we would have seen this last year happen or 4 or 5 months ago. But yeah, really good moment, and he got to mix it up with Austin Theory, Greg. Maybe this is the little jolt that Austin Theory needed to get some momentum going, right?
true. Because Austin Theory's push and run has died on the table um, since his
Since he lost the
coming of
title.
age and becoming a new champ and a more super heel version of himself and losing the title.
Yeah.
We haven't. He's been lost, gone. So standing next to McAfee, he's going to get the McAfee rub now, and all of a sudden, he exists again. So
Yeah.
um,
And
I'm here for it.
I could do a Theory McAfee match
Yeah, no doubt.
more so than Theory and The Rock. I mean, because we already gave Theory to Cena, and that didn't seem to do anything. So I don't know what The Rock could do to elevate Theory. So we got Bullet Club members going at it, Greg. Rematch of Survivor Series 2016, 2017-ish, around that time, because of Bray Wyatt getting hurt, and because that was when we were supposed to get Sister Abigail versus the Demon. Instead, we got the Demon versus AJ, and man, that match, that match was ridiculous. So we got Finn winning. Jimmy Uso interferes in this match. So we also saw AJ Styles come to the aid of John Cena. Who would have ever predicted that, Craig? When we first burst onto the scene, AJ Styles and John Cena teaming up together to kind of fight the onslaught, and that's where we saw the Solo and Cena engagement. The first look at them going at kind of face to face. So looks like Fastlane will be Cena Styles versus Jimmy and Solo, and that should be it kind of gets us out of the bloodline thinking. Because I gotta say, Greg, I just don't see Jimmy align with Roman at all. Like Roman's just gonna be like, I'm done with you. You go do your own thing.
Okay, so just to throw a little something out there.
Yeah.
Can we say Jimmy then joining the Judgment Day? If Jay won't join,
since they're trying to recruit Jay,
right? And Jimmy goes, "I'll do it," and jumps in during the pay-per-view. And
I was gonna say I don't think it could be a long term, right? Like it had to be. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, like I said, it's October. We have to find a way to get these two back in the same orbit.
Well, I think you can wait till Royal Rumble because I mean that's the easy way to do it. You have them, either one or the other doesn't say maybe they start, maybe they're in the ring at the same time at some point. Everybody's down and out, around the ring, Greg. Mm-hmm. So I think we can hold off. Now I could see Jimmy just trying to find a family. maybe that's his cause. Maybe he's like, I do think we're gonna have Roman be like, no kid, you're out. Like you said you quit. That your brother said you quit. Like you're done. And he'll keep Solo around, but I don't think he's gonna keep Jimmy around. And then that also could be good for Jimmy because then we can see what Jimmy can truly do on his own. Like we said, because we got to get Jimmy and Jay WrestleMania. I mean, that's got to be, and like you said, we got time to get them back, or maybe Survivor Series. I guess you could do that. You could have Jay with Cody, Sammy, KO, and then maybe Jimmy is with Finn, Damien, and Dominic if you're not doing JD. So I could buy that part. And then, like I said, as long as they don't touch yet, I think I do want them to, just keep having the face-offs, even at the Rumble, maybe just like looking at each other and somebody attacks one from the other side, or like the guys get back up after they're laying down in the corner, Greg, and, people just fight both of them. But I think you do want to try to do the no touching thing, because that just really builds that moment, that wanting them to tear into each other. So, yeah. So Fastlane, are you okay with Cena and Styles together?
Yeah, it'll do.
Yeah.
It's not a big groundbreaking pay-per-view, so
yeah.
I'm feeling about Cena the way I feel about Sting these days, or Billy Gunn. So
yeah. Wow. Some high praise.
Leave him in Hollywood and come back and cut a promo and then leave. That's where I am on Cena these days, because
it just feels like there's not a lot for Cena to do, and they try to just kind of throw him somewhere and see if it sticks, right? I mean, that just seems like, or the old break-in emergency. Hey, what are you doing this weekend? You got some time off. Hey, what do you want? You want to come to SmackDown for a few weeks? I did bring up LA Knight won. He beat The Miz. The Street Profits interrupted Ray and Santos because Ray is going to give Santos Escobar a United States title match. Does that mean Escobar beats Ray for the title?
I'm going to say yes. Because Ray had his moment and is kind of passing the torch to the new generation of the LWO. And, Ray can sit back and be mentor Ray instead of having to be champion.
I don't know why we gave it to Ray in the first place. I'm still trying to figure that out. It's not like he's won the U.S. title before, I thought.
But, I'm pretty sure he has, yeah.
So anyway, so Street Profits pick up a win, showing their, affiliation with Bobby Lashley. I kind of want to see when that starts getting going. Asuka defeats Bayley. Shotzi is out there, Greg. Are we going to get Shotzi and Bayley finally one-on-one at Fastlane, or is it going to be on a SmackDown?
You could do it at Fastlane and give Shotzi some extra attention and see if she can, take the ball and run with it.
Yeah, and I'd rather do that. I mean, right now, what women's matches? I feel like what women's matches are we going to have?
Right.
Maybe Rhea and Nia for the title. Maybe Raquel as a three-way. Io's. Well, I guess we got Io, Sky, and Asuka. We could probably do that.
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably rather do Io and Asuka at Fastlane, and but I kind of have a feeling they're going to do Rhea and Nia. I feel like Asuka and Io is going to get SmackDown treatment, right?
And that would be a bummer, because I think Io and Asuka could bring the house down.
They deserve it. I really do think that.
Yeah, let them do it the way they did it in Japan, because they go back a long, long time. And between the two of them, they could put together a banger of bangers.
Because even if you get a main event at SmackDown, I mean, that's just not the same, I think, as, having a pay-per-view match with a few more eyeballs on there. So
it's really not the same.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, that is a good hour's worth of content right there for your listening ears. And we will take a quick break, recollect our thoughts, and give you all the latest on Jade. Because, Greg, it looks like she is bound for Stamford, Connecticut. And what what a turn of events that was Thursday night, getting that news. So can't wait to hear your thoughts on it, but we will do that right after these quick few seconds of Rogue Energy talk, elite performance stuff, and Sean Nugent. So tune in just a couple minutes.
What is up, everybody? It's your boy Dan over at BWSPORTS1.com and Black and White Sports. And I'm wondering if you're ready to buy or sell that home, now's the time, and I got just the person for you. Mr. Sean Nugent, a.k.a. Rockstar Realtor himself. 317-503-8322. Put that home on the market. Get into your dream home with this man. Talk to Sean at Talk to Tucker today, 317-503-8322, and make sure you tell him the boys over at BWSPORTS1.com sent you.
All right, and we are back, ready to rock. Let's get right into this. Jade Cargill's contract is up, and oh my goodness, look at that nice picture I found, Greg.
All right, that's not bad at all.
It took me a few minutes to find a good picture. No. Brandon Phillips is a lucky dude, as they say. So, WWE bound, Greg, and possibly straight to the main roster. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, this is just proof I've been working way too much because I've seen nothing about this, especially watching was it Collision and having her come out on Collision and smoke the Renegade Sisters. Here I'm thinking that okay, Jade's back, and looks like she's setting up a run at Statlander, and now this. So I'm as shocked as you are that she's about to jump ship, go over to WWE. She does look like out of the WWE character creator. She's going to fit in perfectly, and I think she's, well, at least compared to Charlotte, same size, shape. I think you give her a good, dominant run the way she had now, so to kind of, raise her stature and present her as kind of like the next big thing. And that way, when, Charlotte answers the bell, and she will, and they have their face off, just looking at those two in the same ring at the same time is going to get everybody on the edge of their seat. She fits right in. I think she's
You think the crowd
improved
will know
incredibly.
who she is? The WWE crowd. That's what I don't necessarily worry about it, but I do question it, Greg.
I think enough of the audience will know who she is that it'll get over.
It could depend on where we're at too, right? Like if you're going to debut, you probably want her debut at Survivor Series because Chicago is a wrestling town. They're going to react to her the right way. I think Royal Rumble's too far away, right? Like I don't want her sitting. I kind of want her getting in there right now and getting in those reps. As they say, on the job training.
True.
I kind of want her in, in by Survivor Series.
Nope, I can sign off on that for sure. And having it done in a wrestling town like Chicago would be great because Chicago is becoming like the second home of AEW next to
I've heard they ran some
Jacksonville.
events there.
Yeah.
They spent some time there.
They do so much business in Chicago. Jade's been seeing plenty. Everybody's know who she is.
You could find a Jacksonville date, I guess. Like if there was a Raw or SmackDown, but I think if you want to present her the way that she wants to be presented, it's got to be at a big event.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think you could do Rumble, but like I said, is that too far away? I mean, I guess we'd forget about her, and then when she shows up, boom, it's like a big,
How about a mystery entrant into the Elimination Chamber?
Yeah. Now is that too far away too, though?
It is. It's too close to WrestleMania, but it would be cool to see her. Whoever gets injured, there's an opening for the chamber, and boom, there she is. It would be an awesome moment, but it's too close to WrestleMania for that to happen.
And she has no contract. I would think there's no compete clause, right? So I would think she could just show up whenever.
True.
I would hope, but I don't know. I don't know what I would assume. Yeah, if your contract's up, so it'll be. But then again, like William Regal's contract was up, and he has a year to go. So I don't know. It's gonna be good. Hopefully, it's not a year for her, because gosh, that would be what a horrible.
Yeah.
I would just assume it's she's free whenever.
Right. I mean, otherwise, whoever's doing her contracts is not doing their job. But I think if that's the case, and her contract expires this week, we should see her, by Halloween.
Oh yeah. I
think for sure. So I'm here for it. Seeing her in there, she just looks like a big deal. And if she stays, the way she is now, I mean, they let Cody bring his whole gimmick over. Why not Jade?
That's the big thing I want to know. What are they going to? I mean, this will be the first real jump, right? I mean, Cody. He doesn't count because he was already there.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, people have said, who's next? Because if that door opens up, Greg, somebody like Wardlow, who I've said all along, Greg, he's just, he's on the sidelines. Or Ricky Starks. Like Ricky Starks, that could be somebody they're really looking at. So, getting Jade, that's going to be a huge blow for AEW. But, if the money's that far apart, what's you want, it can't just be money, I guess, is my bigger thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Khan family has money to spend.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, just look at all the published music they're buying these days.
Yes. They're using Final Countdown like it's water, and I've heard that's ridiculous amounts. So.
Yeah.
And obviously, Kansas is Carry On My Wayward Son. I'm going to assume is not a cheap gift. So.
Right, and who they give Metallica to? Seek and Destroy.
They did, yes. Sting.
So.
Remember that was Sting?
That's it. Sting and Darby.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because apparently Sting used to come out to it very rarely, but it came out to once, is what I thought I was hearing. Like he has some history with it,
but yeah, that's got to be a pretty penny too. So
yeah. Oh yeah, Metallica. We know how they are with music and money, Greg. So.
Exactly.
If you're a child of getting music in Napster days, you know all about Metallica and music licensing and all that good stuff. LimeWire, which used to give my computer the biggest headache ever, and BearShare and all the fun stuff there, Greg. So nothing beats when I was, you would download a full season of a TV show. You're all excited to watch it, and then it's like this big, and then it's the grainiest video ever seen. So, and I'd be like, man, I just wasted 2 days downloading that thing. You don't turn off the computer. You let that thing run. Your internet's running slow. Can't even watch it.
Right. But yeah, to answer your question, though, I think that
sorry.
I think that enough people in the WWE universe watch both products, WWE and AEW, that the pop will be big, and the people who don't know will go along with it anyway, just to not look like clueless.
Yeah.
And they'll get the secondary pop will come with it, because everybody wants to be in on it when that big debut goes down. So
and she's bigger than NXT. Like I don't like, other than trying to get some reps down there, but you could just do that now. Give her some performance center time. Natalia's not doing anything, Greg. She can go train with her every day in Orlando at the performance center. Maybe Liv Morgan is training to get back. You throw her out there. There's plenty of women that you could train with. Hell, give her a ring. Ship her a ring to her house, wherever they live. Her and Brandon Phillips, Cincinnati star. If they live in Cincinnati, you ship it down there, Greg, and let her train at home. I mean, give her Edge. Give her Edge and Beth Phoenix.
There you go.
They can go help her train, but I think you got to put her on the main roster right away.
Yeah,
and like I said, the sooner the better, because that's just it's all about getting that in-ring training. So I think that's a huge get, and I do wonder if Tony Khan, when we get to writing his biography, he might be a little upset about this would be a big loss, because if you watch Rampage last night, that was about as big goodbye as you could get. She hugged Chris Statlander about 3 or 4 times in the ring, Greg. So you could definitely tell that was not a typical, like, thanks for a really good match. That was all right, I'm off. So,
interesting.
But other than that, I figured that was the big news. So I kind of left this blank. If there's anything on your end that you think, AEW wise, we're still waiting on when they're going to go streaming. I keep hearing, it's going to happen at some point. Well, okay. So, is there anything else that caught your attention? I know you said you were pretty busy, so if not, we can get into the shows of the week and start wrapping up the show. But anything else on AEW wise, Greg, that you wanted to throw out there?
No, just the all in and all out, because I didn't get to talk about that very much, but the Moxley and Cassidy match, just mind blowing, good, and some of my favorite matches are going down with AEW. Takeshita and Kenny, and man, Will Ospreay, just give me all that guy's matches straight into my bloodstream, because dude, I mean, that guy is a killer. I love that guy now, and I can't say that much about the guys that they're bringing from Japan, New Japan, and they're not doing a fantastic job of. Yeah, they're not doing a good job of really ingratiating them into the our psyche. But Will Ospreay just brings off the page. The match he had with Kenny, the match he's had with Jericho, everything this guy does is amazing, and I am a huge fan. Off of the handful of matches I've seen of his, and that's more than I can say for the other stalwarts who come out of New Japan, Ibushi and Okada, and those guys who granted, aren't getting the presentation that they deserve based on their status. Um, but some guys don't need it, like Osprey.
Yeah.
You know, the
He's
guy
risen.
is. I think he's better than Kenny when it comes to being the best bout machine because this guy,
He can go.
yeah, he can really go, and he's been blowing my mind with the matches he's had. So, want to give that guy props specifically because I am a Will Osprey fan now, and I'm glad he won his match over in Wembley
Yeah.
um, over Jericho. But
And I think he just left Progressive Wrestling, Greg. So slowly getting on that free agent status. So
yeah, I want him to
that's
come to AEW full time, no
yeah.
doubt. And
There's definitely money to be made with them. And
yeah,
Ibushi, it's funny you mentioned him. We'll get into Dynamite, Greg, but I think Ibushi's going to get his chance to sink or swim soon because he's the next target of Don Callis. So that should be interesting to kind of see, where Ibushi stands. Because like we said, we've seen, you didn't see much in the Blood and Guts match. You saw a little bit more with the Young Bucks match when he was on their side. But, we're still kind of waiting to see. I still kind of remember him in the Cruiserweight Classic. And he really opened my eyes, which is also Zack Sabre Jr. And we'll get plenty of Zack Sabre Jr. because him and Brian Danielson are going to go at it at Wrestle Dream, Greg, which I think should main event because, it's in Seattle. That's Brian Danielson's hometown.
mhm.
And that just has that literally does have dream match all over it. So hopefully they'll give that some time there. But just some quick collision notes from last week. Like you said, was that when? So Jade did show back up there, and then Jade Cargill did lose last night. So she'll be probably off her way off. Chris Statlander, Greg, just keeps getting title defenses. Sorry, Orange Cassidy, you might have your title defense streak broken already in about 20 more matches. So, and Moxley going through names that are the same letter, Greg, because he's had Action Andretti, then he's had Big Bill. Next, people said Colt Cabana. If we can find a DD, EE, I mean, we're just going to move him through the alphabet. I'm already kind of over John Moxley as champion, though, Greg. Is that bad?
No, the thing is, he doesn't need a title.
He does not need a title. That's probably what it is.
That I don't know, it may take away from it when he does have a title.
Yeah.
He's a made guy. He doesn't need a title unless it's a world title. That's when we really get, invested more in him. But he is made. He doesn't need that international championship. That should be on a guy like Orange Cassidy. That should be on somebody who's on the come up, and not a made man like Mox.
Well, then I think it's until they figure out what is that next feud for him. He's just gonna roll through whoever he does. So, Bullet Club Gold defeated some guys. Greg, Ray Phoenix won, and then we did have Roderick and Samoa Joe, which we'll get. I think we'll start there as far as Dynamite. So Samoa Joe picks up the win over Roderick Strong. Right call or wrong call, Greg?
Right call.
Okay.
Playing into the MJF and Samoa Joe budding rivalry.
Yeah.
It's much more entertaining than having MJF and Roddy with Cole being the guy torn between the devil and the deep blue sea. I mean, I like Cole or MJF and Joe is going to be brutal and violent, and that's the way it should be. So we can play out the soap opera with Roddy.
Just on the side.
Like it is now, and Roddy doing the bad movie of the week promos.
Yeah, Lifetime.
The way he is, and exactly, they're so brutal to watch. And
so I guess I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit because I think I think I like the idea of could there be that doubt that Adam Cole could be on Roddy's side? And because he's friends with the Kingdom too. They were all together before. So there's that little bit of doubt there. And I just hate it because Samoa Joe, I want him to have that damn world title, but I don't think he's beating MJF.
Yeah, that's the same of it.
You're playing MJF as a real babyface now. You know, he's got the hurt neck. I mean, you know, doctors don't want him wrestling, so now he's going to play that up. So, you know, you have him get muscle bustered, and then he's probably going to come back from it. So, but it is good for MJF to get to play that role. Because like we said, we know what MJF can do heel-wise. I mean, hell, he does it in person. I can attest to that, Greg, because I met him, and he was throwing people's packages out the window, you know, throwing them down and not even looking at you as he was signing stuff. I mean, so it, you know, now it'd be kind of cool to meet him to see, you know, what kind of snarkiness would he play? You know, would he play up snarky but still give you that bit of, you know, real life person to meet you? So I would love Samoa Joe to win, but like I said, I don't have big high hopes for it. Moxley defeated Big Bill. What about Ibushi, Greg? Finally, you know, like I said, I think this is his chance to finally get to show what he can do against Takeshita, who's, you know, a New Japan type guy, and hopefully they'll work well together. You know, Takeshita's a little bit bigger, so that will play into favor because, you know, Ibushi is a smaller guy, so you can see a little bit more what he can do, and we might be able to see Takeshita sell more. So this should be an interesting dynamic because I think it's guys, you know, we're still trying to buy into Takeshita, and we're going to have to try to buy into Ibushi, Greg. So is this the right move maybe for right now for Takeshita?
I'll say yes if, like I was saying with these Japan guys, that they give these guys enough time to work on AEW TV.
Yeah.
I need to see weeks of Ibushi to buy in. We know he's a legend in Japan.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of guys who are legends in Japan who come over to the States and they get put on the back burner or they start losing matches right away, stuff like that. So we need to see, you know, how great Ibushi is because, you know, in Japan, he's the man. He's one of the, you know, there's a Mount Rushmore of Japanese wrestlers right now. He's one of the four. I'm wanting to see that. We've seen a couple matches where he didn't really do anything, but you know, we need to see, you know, a couple months worth of, you know, action-packed matches so we can buy into what Ibushi's selling, and that's going to make this rivalry with Takeshita better. So I feel like David Duchovny in the X-Files. I want to believe. I want this guy to be as good as Japan says he is. Hey, well, you're Scully in this situation.
I'm Scully, sorry. Yes. I guess you could tell, Greg, I've never watched one episode of that show. Like, I know of it, obviously, but I've never sat down, even when it was in its heyday, never once watched the X-Files. One of the 90s shows that passed me by.
Yeah, well,
and it was on Fox, which is weird because I watched a lot on Fox. Like Married with Children, Tracy Ullman Show, In Living Color, which I guess would have predated X-Files, but
true. But I haven't watched the full episode either, to be honest with you.
Okay.
But I've watched fragments of shows just because I thought Scully was hot. So
there
it is.
Many a times that people did say that, yes. So, speaking of hot, Toni Storm. She won. Juice Robinson, Greg. He's out.
Lucky
He swung above his weight class, right? Is that what they say? He batted out of his league.
Well, outkicked his coverage.
Outkicked his coverage. Yes.
Exactly.
Every cliche, because man, you look at Juice Robinson, and you look at Tony Storm, and
And you go, how?
how?
Corey Graves, how?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
That's got to be the one. Yeah. How did Corey Graves get Carmella? He must have a great sense of humor or something, Greg. Because man,
Yeah.
and knocked her up. even went the distance, as they call, obviously. But anyways, so what about Tony Storm and Saraya? Does Tony Storm get her title back next week? I mean, the bigger story is her to lose, and she keeps doing this, actress down on her luck, sad Corbin-esque, sad Oscar winner-esque, Greg, which I'm all for because hell, if you give me her in, robes and lingerie, I ain't complaining. And throwing the shoe.
It's great. It's so great. I'm loving it so much. The lingerie and the whole wardrobe change has been awesome. I'm loving it. And I haven't dug Tony Storm since WWE, but now I'm in, and this is the type of, character experimentation that you work with until you find what works. And
it just fits her. I mean, she's just playing the hell out of it.
Oh yeah. I mean, are you paying attention, Raquel Rodriguez?
Yeah.
Not that you could pull off lingerie, but who knows? Maybe you could, but the type of
We'll ask Braun Strowman.
right. But just, this extreme didn't work. Let's try this one. Or, being willing to experiment and do something way off board. Yeah. And, you never know what's going to hit. And Tony's figured it out, and it's awesome. We love it. And yes, please, more Tony in robes and slippers and throwing shoes. Absolutely. Is he going to beat Saraya? No, but I'm with you. I want her to lose just because she goes right.
She's going to go, Mommy Dearest. She needs some wire hangers pretty soon, Greg. So.
Yeah, what's going to happen if she loses this match with Saraya? So I'm down. I'm in for more Tony Storm, especially crazy lingerie wearing Tony Storm.
Side note, Braun and Raquel actually make sense in my mind, like as a couple, because you both have them, workout heavy. They seem kind of country people. That's a hitting in your weight class, I think, for both of them.
I agree with that.
So, anyways, now if Braun and Alexa would have been a couple, Greg, oh my God, can you imagine? I've already swore off dating a few times, Greg. I might have really gone off the reservation there because if Braun could have scored Alexa, God help us. So.
Yeah.
But anyways, we'll need an episode of would-be couples that CM Punk and his bevy of beauties that he had before, Greg. Who was it? Mickey James, I think he had. Kelly too at one point.
Wow.
Beth Phoenix. He had quite the roster there for a little bit. So very interesting time. So speaking of sex, the sex god spoke. Are you holding true to your Guevara joins Don Callis, Greg?
Yeah, I'm sticking with it. Okay. That maybe during this match, Callis gets involved, and it's a great way to push it further. My boys beat you, Takeshita, and I'm taking everything from you. I'm going to ruin your life, and now I'm taking, the last thing you have, and Sammy Guevara, and Sammy just becoming mega heel just by standing next to Don Callis.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it's great, and I'm going to vote for it to happen.
And I'm all for that. That's fine. So, apparently the feud of the century with the way Excalibur was explaining this, Craig, with Hangman Adam Page and Brian Cage, and I'm like, I don't even know if I put Brian Cage on the top 10 10 opponents of Hangman Adam Page. Because I didn't even know they had 2 other matches. I did not know this was the rubber match because I'd forgotten about that. So, but Swerve and Hangman at Wrestle Dream in Swerve's hometown of Seattle, like legit hometown. Whereas, Bryan Danielson is outskirts of Seattle.
Yeah.
Darby and Swerve Strickland are like Seattle people. So, I'm which way do you think we should go? Should it be Swerve getting the win over Adam or over Hangman?
Yeah, to start, because the hero's going to need a mountain to climb, and
Yeah,
Swerve showing that this is my
gotta get
city.
back to it. Yeah,
He's going to get down and show how dirty he can be, and find some underhanded way to win, or find some way to cheat him with brass nuts, or anything's in Swerve's wheelhouse as far as rule breaking. So he does something that's going to force Hangman to have to sink into those depths too,
yeah.
and find his dark side. So I think Swerve's going to take the first one.
And Darby and Nick Wayne picked up a win. We're still doing the Christian Cage stuff. Greg, was there a ting or like a small twitch that you, when he said, Christian says, I wasn't with my normal tag team partner, did we think, on this day, I could see clearly? Did we think that was going to hit? Because for a brief second, Greg, I was like, holy shit, they did get Adam Copeland. But it is Christian. He knows what the hell he's doing. His normal partner is Luchasaurus, the rightful champion, Greg. So was there any moment that you thought maybe, just maybe, we saw Adam Copeland showing up in AEW there on a random Wednesday night?
Nah.
Yeah.
Nah. If it was to ever happen, and I seriously doubt that it is ever going to happen to begin with,
it's got to happen.
It would have to be on a big event.
Double or Nothing, or All Out, or All In.
Yeah, right.
I don't want it Revolution. Like, Revolution's just still not it's one of their big ones, their big name brand or Full Gear. But it's got to be like All Out, All In, or Double or Nothing. Like, it's got to be one of those. So, but it was funny that with the way he said it. And I mean, even the crowd was like, oh, like you really just said that. So, Christian is playing up this character, Greg. I will give him that. I mean, even in the scrums, I think he did say, "How's everybody's dad doing?" So he's going to do it. It'd be very interesting to meet him at a meet and greet, Greg. I wonder if he would how he's playing up his character. So, a lot of stuff happened on Rampage. The Hardy Boys and Lucha Bros picked up a win, Greg. But the Hardy Boys were laid out by everybody, and then we had the Righteous show up, and we're going to get them going at so it's Vincent and the other guy. I can't remember his name, but we're going to see them go at it against the Hardy Boys tonight. So that'll be happening on Collision. Britt Baker is going to get a TBS championship shot. Is she, I was thinking this earlier, Greg, is she in Charlotte territory where I just feel like they just don't know what to do with her now?
Yeah, I mean,
and they'll just like, oh, here's a title, go after it.
Exactly. I mean, they should have never lost Britt's momentum, because Britt is the most over woman in AEW.
Yeah.
And the fact that they don't have anything for her just speaks for how badly they're doing the women's division.
Yeah.
So she should be on top and stay on top. She should be the Charlotte Flair, the domino that everybody has to knock over to get to her level. But they've really fumbled the ball on that.
Which is funny because you said that tonight they'll be in Penn State. They'll be at Britt Baker's hometown college. So there you go. She will have the hometown crowd behind her as she loses to Chris Statlander. So there we go. Maybe Sheeta gets involved, and we could keep playing up that feud. So, the Kingdom picked up a win. The Mogul Embassy wants a match I think it's with Hangman and the Young Bucks, better known as Hung Bucks. No double entendre needed for that one, Greg, but
No, not at
you
all.
can make it for what it is. Daddy Ass won with the Acclaimed, Aussie Open won, and then, like we said, Chris Statlander picked up a huge win over Jade. And then Jade's on her way out. So it would definitely surprise me with the way, like I said, I mean, you could find the clip, Greg. I mean, she literally hugged her about 3 or 4 times in the ring. So Jade doesn't do that if it's a normal night, right?
Right. Absolutely.
And then tonight, so we do have Daddy Ass, or sorry, we have Anthony Bowens. By the way, Greg, if you were so interested in a scissor championship, did you see the price for said championship?
Oh man, I shudder to think how many thousands of dollars this is going to be. I'm gonna
Even
say
I,
$2,500.
it is halfway there. It is 4,999.
Wow.
I don't know.
Really?
There's not much, Greg, I would pay for. Like WrestleMania front row tickets, maybe, and a meet and greet, and an autograph session, and unlimited drinks and food, right? Like, I mean,
And a
there's
hotel.
and a hotel and a flight and a ride. I mean, maybe then I would pay $5,000 for wrestling something. 4,000 bucks for a wrestling title, even that can scissor itself, Greg. That's yeah. If you have to take out a payday loan to probably help pay for it, that's probably tough.
Right.
There's the way they were touting it is it's not a replica, so it's going to be all legit, but still. I mean, even some of the WWE titles, like that Bray Wyatt one, I think at one point was 2,500 or something like that. So, but anyway, we're going to also get Claudio and Cesaro against Ricky Starks and Big Bill because we're still doing that feud, Greg. Where do we go next with Ricky Starks and Bryan Danielson? Because he's got Zack Sabre Jr. at Wrestle Dream. So you're just kind of filling the gaps with Ricky Starks now, aren't you?
Yeah. And Ricky deserves something better because he's been so good
Yeah.
the last couple months. I've been loving what he's been doing with his character. And I've not always been a big Ricky Starks fan, but he's really come out of his shell, and his promos have been fire. You can feel his emotion, and you feel that he believes every word that he says to the nth degree.
When's his
And
contract up?
I know, so man, with him with the WWE machine behind him, holy crap.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm loving what he's doing, and it's a bummer that the Punk angle disappeared so quick. Not that it was any fault of his, of course.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah.
But that's a shame for him.
I mean,
And
he should have
then
beat Punk for the title if that was the case, right? I mean,
right. So that didn't work out for him. And then being put in with Danielson on short notice,
yeah.
not get enough time to let that breathe, because as good as that strap match was, with that build
It
up,
didn't have the story behind it.
right? It could have been so much better.
Like I don't know if Bryan Danielson has any history with Ricky Steamboat.
Yeah, exactly. So you could have, Ricky's been getting the shaft end of the stick, and you can see why his promos are so venomous, because he knows it, and he's been letting us know it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now he's kind of.
I was going to say, AW is almost in its 4th year, so you got to think some of these contracts are going to start being up soon.
True. And so hopefully they've extended him already, because he is going to be a big time player for a long time, just off the strength of his work, and it's getting better and better every outing.
Now I could see him doing more NXT stuff first, Greg. Like I don't think he's at that level of, like, he could show up at a Royal Rumble. I don't think people would, like, I guess like we said, if it was in the right town, maybe, but a normal WWE crowd, I think they'd get behind it, but it would take a little bit of time. So, how about FTR doing like an open challenge now? Even though, once again, Greg, I hate when they announce the team that's, it's not an open challenge then. It's a match.
Right.
Like now on Dynamite, if there's no team announced and they say, hey, we're doing the FTR open challenge, okay. These are the Iron Savages. Have you seen much of the Iron Savages, Greg?
No, I have no clue who the
And
Iron
the only
Savages
thing
are.
I have seen is them on BTE, where they are pounding powder, like drinks, and they're pumping weights. And the one of the dudes is always like, I want to be rock hard. And he says that a lot. So, and you could take that for what it is. So, that is all I've seen of the Iron Savages. So, speaking of MIA, Scorpio Sky's still a thing, Greg.
What?
Did you know that? He gets a match against Andrade. Talk about is this for a milk carton?
Exactly, the milk carton match.
And who needs to win more in this one?
I know they did just reintroduce Scorpio not long ago, and then he was summarily cast off TV again. So
I don't. That's another guy. Yeah, I mean, he was one. He's one of the original. Kind of AEW guys, Greg. You wonder that grass on the other side could look a little greener. And why Andrade's still in AEW, Greg? I don't know.
yeah, I mean, this is the match of the guys who get the most stops and starts of anybody on the roster.
I mean, unless him and Charlotte are really down and out, and maybe he doesn't want that. I mean, that could be holding it back. So, because I know it's hard to gauge social media, Greg. Some people don't share any pictures together, but to have Andrade and Charlotte always sharing pictures together, and then to go like radio silent on each other.
That's a bad sign.
That's a little something, right? I mean, or if you have to zoom in and be like, okay, I want to see if there's a wedding ring on. Like that's always the sign. And then, like I said, we'll have the Righteous against the Hardy Boys. I kind of want to see the Righteous, Greg, because they were being touted on NXT for a little bit. Maybe headed there, and then they just didn't end up there. So I kind of want to see them. I get a little bit of the Dark Order vibe to them, but
yeah.
And it's only 2 members, so at least just 2. So last call. Anything for the good of the matter, Greg, that you want to end on?
Well, I guess we have to acknowledge give a shout out to the Dallas Cowboys because they were the deciding factor in our fantasy football matchup last week.
Do we have to give that a shout out because you killed me? And you know who I'm playing this week, Greg?
That's right. You're playing the queen of my.
Did you rig the system? What do I have to go through the Greg Williams family? Am I going to play your son next week or something?
Thankfully for you, there's only 2 of us.
No,
in this game.
I did not join your family league.
No,
I would have had to go through the Greg Williams family.
But yep, I was down
by. I was like, "Who's Amy Garner?" And I was like, "Oh yeah," because I was like, since we had, we are doing this with the network. I mean, we don't have many women on our network, so I was like, well, I know it's not Monica. she is not a football fantasy person. I do know that, Greg. She's a lot of different things, but that is one thing I can definitely not see her watching much football. If you've ever met Monica, so
yeah, but here's your chance now. You get the chance to exact your revenge.
Oh yeah.
On the
get to beat I can beat your girlfriend in fantasy football. Well, I guess it will be if you can't beat her, Greg, and I do beat her. That will be the fun bragging note. So, and sorry for all your Aaron Rodgers fans, because if there is fans of him, if there is there Aaron Rodgers fans?
Well, we felt sorry for him, but
McAfee.
yeah,
Well, McAfee is, I guess.
right. So yeah, it's like sorry about your luck, kid, but
Yeah.
all that hype and then gone in 4 plays. It's
Well, how
like,
about and then it comes out that the NFL is like, oh, well, now we have to put grass in every stadium.
oh, that's what the Players Association wants is
Yeah.
grass in every
Well,
stadium.
they're going to, I was hearing, because there's the World Cup coming whenever it is, they want grass for soccer players. So they're worried about soccer players, Greg, but NFL players, who are their cow, their money cows, like, if they get hurt, but we can't let Ronaldo get hurt on a fake pitch. So
Right.
it sounds like a lot of the stadiums are going to turn into grass anyway. So it's probably coming down the pipeline anyway. But then like domes, like our Lucas Oil Stadium, it's a dome, so I don't know if you're going to put real grass in a dome, right?
Well, they should. I mean, I agree with the players. They should put real grass everywhere. That's how football is supposed to be played, not on turf. So
Yeah.
um, I'm with the players on this subject.
I don't know. Like I said, I think it'd be interesting to see um, what that. Like you said, I think the NFL players they're pushing towards that. It's always funny when a big injury happens, Greg, and then it's kind of the littlest things that comes out like, oh, there was a snowflake in the sky, so we have to have domes now. Like, okay, like he slipped on the he slipped on the turf, and I guess there was a lot of hamstring injuries, so it does sound like maybe the turf is a bigger issue. But I mean, what did the players back in the day? There was a lot of turf stadiums. I mean, I thought a lot of domes had turf, but it's always interesting, and of course it does depend on who gets injured. I mean, if linebacker, third string linebacker, falls and breaks his hip, Greg, on turf, they're like, oh, he'll be, just go rehab it. we're
Yeah.
not changing the playing field for you. But if Peyton Manning, sprains his ankle on turf, they'll be like, oh my God, what is with this turf? We better change it out.
Right.
Give him bubble wrap, as they say. So. Yeah, because people have always talked about what will football look like, in 5 or 10 years, just with more safety being thrown into it. Yeah. Well, good luck to Miss Gardner. Gardner, right?
Yep. Garner.
Yeah.
No D in the middle.
No D. Sorry, Gardner. Yeah. Not Gardner Mitch. So, do the Jets need him? Because we could probably unload him to the Jets. We don't need him.
Nope.
And of course, who did they say? Tom freaking Brady. I'm like, oh my God, if Brady comes back again, that might even be worse, Greg, than Rodgers getting injured. And plus, he's a co-owner now, or well, not co, but he's got some ownership in the Raiders. So like, you can't.
There you go. You
play
can't.
for the
It's conflict of interest.
Now, I was
You
gonna
can't
say
do
you
it now.
can't play as one of the Jets, or you got to sell it. I guess he could sell his interest, but then there was like Kirk Cousins. Sounds like they're just going to roll with Zach Wilson. Because like people, like they were saying on, I don't know if you know, Greg, but ESPN loves to talk about the Jets. If you haven't realized, I swear there was one day, every show, I think at different hours, I tuned in, like it was just the Jets. And Dolphins. There was a lot of talk about the Dolphins one day, and I was like, what? Unless it was their two-a-days, and maybe that's why every show was talking about the Dolphins. So, yeah, but anyway, so Kirk Cousins was the other guy, but like they said, there's so much money invested in Aaron Rodgers, and then you're going to put Kirk Cousins, who's on a ridiculous contract. You're going to put all that money just to have him for the season, maybe. So
That's true. Well, the Vikings are 0-2, and
yeah,
they got the Chargers coming into town next.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So, and
Next
then I
week.
think they're scheduled right. So they've already had their game for this week, and
oh, that's right. Yes.
Yeah. So if they lose to the Chargers, then they got another tough game coming up. If they start bad, 0-4, 1-5, something like that, then they may be looking at, shipping Cousins off and
That could be, yeah.
getting something for him because he's a free agent after this year.
I just can't believe, Greg, I got to wait a whole nother season for my Colts to win a season opener. How sad is that? It's still like it's not even the top record yet. I think like some team didn't win a season opener in 16 years. So we're fingers crossed. We're still some years away. But anyways, so. All right. Well, enjoy the week. We'll be back at it next week. 3:00 again. I'm guessing is good for you, Greg.
Yep, sounds good.
And then the week after, we'll talk to see what time we can do it because I had to reschedule things from my end, real life stuff. So we'll get to it when we because that weekend will be No Mercy, so we'll have that to predict and get caught up on things. And then the weekend after, or that might be Wrestle Dream as well. I think October 1st. So
nice.
We're getting into, and then Fastlane is the 7th. So we're getting in all kinds of pay-per-views, Greg, on the road to Survivor Series. So, and then we'll see what Royal Rumble brings. They just announced it for Tampa, Florida. That's not too far of a flight for you.
No, not at all.
But
it's not that far of a drive, matter of fact.
Drive, so. Yeah, I was going to say drive. That's the one, Greg, I keep like, man, just come a little bit closer. Give me Nashville. Give me Atlanta. I'll even take Atlanta. Just to try to get, because that's the one I want to mark off the list. I haven't made it to Rumble, but I think that would be a lot of fun, a lot of good energy. But like I said, we'll get Fastlane. It'll be fun, and business will be booming. So good time. So all right. Well, thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the fall-like weather you're starting to see, and kind of the best part of the best season right now is that weird. Yeah, it's starting to get cooler, but it's not quite cool yet, right? Is that kind of what's down there for you?
Yeah, it's definitely starting to cool off and not so humid.
Yeah,
but still humid. But it's actually feeling almost
hurricane
pleasant.
Season still in effect?
It is still in effect for another month, probably.
Okay.
But we've had a couple big ones blow through, and now it's calm and actually feels good around here right now.
The eye of the storm. So, all right. Well, enjoy the day, and we'll talk to you guys next week.